What's happening, fishing friends? Welcome to another episode. Beautiful day out. I'm on my way, taking a little road trip here to go visit somewhere. This is going to be kind of a vlog, a D-blog, if you will. Behind the scenes look at a place. I'm super excited. I've never got to go here, check the stuff out. I think it'll be a fun trip. Come on, daggum navigation, try to interrupt me. But anyway, you'll see me here in a second. We'll get out and be at the place and do the things. I think we're here. Let's go take a closer look. If you didn't guess it, that's where we're at. All right, so here, nice little trip here in Iowa with my guy, Brennan.
Hey everybody.
I'm gonna follow you. You're the man in charge.
All right, let's check it out.
Let's go. All right, we're over here taking a look at all the molds. They've got a couple soft plastic molds here. Brennan's looking for something bass related. We were looking at some little curly tail grubs. I know my guy Paul will be excited about that. They catch about anything.
Familiar with a fluke? You fish soft bait molds or soft bait flukes. Pretty much got a designed panfish, bass, trout, saltwater, whatever you can think of. We pretty much got a designer concept for everything. So if you're familiar with a fluke, that's your guy.
I've heard they catch fish.
They do.
That's one y'all might be familiar with. I've seen a few of those before.
You've got your CNC molds, something like that that's got a higher capacity. It's got a lot of detail that it'll capture because it's all CNC milled. And then we've got these molds that are really appealing to people that are just getting into it. And what these are sand cast. So these go through our Foundry, manufactured, different process, so it's a lot more affordable for guys that are just getting into it. So these molds, for example, we retail for $42. So if you're just getting into soft bait making, that's your guy.
So these, when you're making these, you would have like a negative essentially that's this shape that's inside of the sand. Is that like some sort of foam or something? So when you pull, I'm assuming this is aluminum, right?
Yep, it sure is. This is sand cast aluminum, and we're actually gonna go take a look at our Foundry next.
Oh,
I'll show
sweet.
you that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with the Discovery Channel. Only be about 5 million people that see you here doing the whole handle process. I'm kidding.
So this is our handle room. This is where every single mold that we make on the lead side will get a handle. So before it goes to your Bass Pro, Cabela's, Tackle Warehouse, what have you, it's got to get a handle put on it, and this is where it happens.
Those are pretty popular.
This one here is a production mold, so you can see it's got all of the same size, which is handy if you're trying to knock out a lot of them. This is a pretty good seller here, yeah.
What's your #1 selling jig mold?
Jig mold, there's a couple of kind of teeter-totters, but believe it or not, sinker molds make up a majority of our top sellers.
Really?
Yep. But if you think about it, you lose a lot of sinkers if you're catfishing, bass, whatever you're doing. Yeah, sinkers make up a lot of it.
All right, so we're going in to check out the Foundry. Might be a little loud, I don't know, but this is some cool stuff. Let's check it out. It looks like it looks like a sand mold. Inside that sand mold, if you've ever done any like blacksmithing or metal work, so this would be the negative of the mold that they're actually making inside the sand, which is really cool. You can see all these lined up here. Those are all the different sand molds. It's got a little tube in the top. That's where they're gonna pour the molten aluminum, and essentially it's gonna make this inside of that sand. So when you break the sand off, this is what's coming out of there. Pretty sweet. The actual negative or the piece of that mold. That's what he's got all lined up there, getting ready to break all those open. That is some tough work. Thank you very much, dude. That's a grind. All right, we're here in the shipping center. Pretty cool. This is where all the stuff gets put together. All the boxes on the cart, getting ready to go to the old mail. What we got going on here?
Yep, so this is our shipping center. Anything you order or anything we make at some point goes right out that door. This is Drake. He's doing some shipping / watching Bassmaster. So if you ever get a shipment that was delivered incorrectly, it's probably Drake's fault.
I'm not mad at that. Watching a little Bassmaster. I mean, who's lying? We all do that anyway. I still have a full-time job, so I might watch a little fishing on the side. All right, so as we leave shipping, actually this would come before shipping. This is all the shelving and stocking, so when they'd have all the SKUs ready, sitting in the boxes ready to go out. This is where you'd come fill orders, right, with the box, get it all packaged up. So they've got a few rows of stuff here. He was saying it's a little empty and low. I guess that's a good problem to have now, but of course with everybody getting out and fishing, I think they said what in Iowa, fishing license sales were up like 40-some%.
Yeah, nationwide it was about a 40% increase in fishing participation. So we had a busy year. So very grateful.
That's a good problem to have. Look at this. I mean, aisles and aisles of
Custom tackle making goodies.
Custom tackle making goodies. So speaking of goodies, what do we have? Let's look at some of this stuff. What's neat?
We got pretty much everything you can imagine making your own baits. So for example, here's some buzzbait blades. If you're making buzzbaits, some chartreuse ones if they're eating the chartreuse.
Ooh, bluegill.
Yep. I also have a ton of hooks, just about any treble hook you can imagine. Not just jig hooks necessarily, but we are do-it molds, so we do make jig molds, I'm sorry. So we've got pretty much all the good jig hooks you can imagine as well.
Gammies.
Yep.
Do-it gammies, owner, everything you could think of they have here. This is pretty cool for a tackle nerd like me.
Split
this
rings.
is like heaven. Oh,
quality split rings.
nice owners. Need swivels? They got swivels. Need anything? They got pretty much anything you want here.
Bucktails, if you're tying bucktails.
Ah,
Hair, marabou, 3D eyes.
that's what he's talking about with the bucktails here. So when you're making your own stuff, they actually sell. This is actually a deer tail. Now, do we harvest these deer here in Iowa, or are these our own deer?
I don't know.
Shot and
I like to
sourced.
think they're all locally sourced.
Yeah, these are all local Iowa deer. We're going to pretend. I don't really know. But so you take the little hairs off that, you know, whether you're a fly guy or you're making, you know, anything, you know, striper, hand-tied striper runs. You can do all kinds of stuff with these. Chartreuse. Whoop. And they smell really good too, right? Deer tails smell beautiful. Let's see. Eagle Trocar 1000 count. Yeah, that'll get you through. Look at that. Even got the cool tinsel-y stuff. Everything you can imagine. Look, skirts for the jigs. Y'all saw me using some of these skirts in my video not too long ago. That's what they look like. So when you put in an order, you know, guys and gals are coming through here, filling your order. Green pumpkin. You got the chartreuse pumpkin. Black and chartreuse.
Have any color you can imagine skirting material wise. Like you said, we had a busy year. Very grateful for that. But
Yeah, for sure.
the shelves aren't as full as they used to be, so we're
That's
working
all right.
hard to get stocked back up as fast as we can.
Okay, so watching some of my stuff recently, it's awesome. Brennan said, we've got powder paints here. And he said, whatever I can fit in my pocket, I can take with me. So I'm gonna go grab my, my cargo shorts. I'm kidding. So these are the different powder paints. So y'all have seen me talk about those before. Brennan, how does a powder paint work?
So we'll go into the process and we'll demonstrate it here because we're actually about to make some tackle because we got to go catch some fish. But,
Sweet.
basically what you have here is a different process of painting that I think a lot of people might not be familiar with. Powder painting. So this is like a hard powder coat that will go on your jig after you heat it with a torch or heating source. Dip it in there and it's almost like a rapid powder coat. So it's really cool stuff, good stuff. There's a couple other ways to paint your jigs, but in my opinion, this is the most efficient. So simple process. We'll get into it here in just a minute.
Yeah, and I've noticed a huge difference. Like some companies might use a little bit different process, but I've noticed from testing the powder coat stuff and doing my own, like after you bake it, it is so hard. Like, you know, I told you all, you know, 3-4 years, whatever, glasses keep fogging. 3-4 years ago or whatever, I taught myself how to use left-handed baitcasters, right? And a lot of that was just flipping and pitching in my basement with a jig. And a lot of those were just, you know, cheap jigs I had laying around. And, you know, after 3-4 pitches on, you know, my basement's pretty much like this, a concrete floor, it's already chipping off. I was down there practicing with one of these and it's hard to chip off. So you can definitely tell the toughness. And again, that's after you bake it. So if you were just to dip this regularly and then try to do it, it's nowhere near as tough as after you bake it. You want to bling out your baits. Soft baits, what do we got? What do we got here? Red glitter, orange, blue,
So just
teal.
about every glitter color you can imagine for soft bait making. We're going to get into a little bit of that too. So we figured we'd stop by here and check it out. So pretty much every popular color of glitter you can imagine. And then the other product you need, colorant. So this is what's going to give your bait the color that you're looking for. Pretty much every major color you can imagine.
Because all the plastisols, so the actual base that you're using is going to be like a milky white until you heat it up, and then it's essentially clear. And I would assume that's what we're using.
Yep, it's super dense pigment in this. Little bit goes a long way, so this is a favorite among soft bait makers.
We've got some jigs. We got all sorts of soft plastic paddle tails lined up. We got some Sankos, some beavers. I'm liking what I'm seeing here.
We've got some Magic Cross Swirl. That's a big fish color come spring, and it is spring here in Iowa, so hopefully we catch some big ones on those. Black and blue Senkos, where we're going, we could run into some stained water, so we got some of those already made up. But one cool thing, this is the Yamamoto Senko, so that is licensed by Yamamoto himself. So
really? So this is the same mold they would be using for the
correct.
Yamamoto
Yep.
Senko.
So if you buy a Do-It Senko mold, you are making a Yamamoto Senko, which is really unique.
That's crazy. Okay, so we're gonna start the process here. So what are we looking at if you're brand new to bait making, you've never done any soft plastic stuff, what are we looking at for this process?
Pretty simple. It is easy to mess up. You're gonna make some really ugly colors at first, and that's just how it goes. Luckily, you can remelt it all back down and reuse it. So what we're gonna do here is start with Essential Series Plastisol, half a quart or 2 cups of Plastisol. I'm gonna put this in the microwave probably 3 to 4 minutes. If you're just getting started, I would recommend doing 30-second increments. You can burn your Plastisol, and if you do that, it is junk. So if we're gonna take our hot plastic, we're gonna put some gloves on.
Yeah.
We're gonna make some Senkos real quick, and then I think we're gonna hit the lake.
Sweet, let's do it. I've told you all before how awesome it is to have one of these tied on as your follow-up. So if you're throwing, you know, topwater, like when I'm talking about frogging, or if you're throwing like a spinner bait and you see a fish come out from that log and just kind of grab at your spinner bait.
Shout out to Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin. It comes out and shows itself. You can throw one of these as a follow-up, and 8 out of 10 times you're going to get that fish to bite something like this. You know exactly where that fish is at and throwing right to it. Green pumpkin green. All right, here we go. This is where the magic happens. So you can see he's got the Plastisol pretty much melted.
Yep, and always start with like smaller drops, right? I mean, you can put it in, but once it's in, you can't take it out. So you can see that's quickly turning green pumpkin. That's about 3 drops right there. You tell me when it's what you want, all right?
Hey, you're the chef.
Say the word.
You're
all
the
right?
chef.
It's up to me.
You cook it up.
Pressure is on. And one other tip, I guess, here is when you're stirring it in, you don't want to hit it like an egg beater. That's going to incorporate micro bubbles into your plastic, so stir it slowly. I think we're there. So we're going to go ahead and add our flake at this point. Spice it up a little bit. So we're going to add some highlight powder because just green pumpkin itself is too boring.
Look at that.
So now we're going to add some glitter. We'll go black there. Incorporate that, and then we're going to pour it into the injector and start shooting. Looks good. All right, 6-ounce injector here. I'm gonna drop some Plastisol. You can see how this mold has 2 clamps on it. That's important. All of our molds should always be clamped with 2 clamps. Push down on the injector handle till you can't push any further. Hold firm pressure on it for just a couple seconds. Top off that sprue. Remainder can go back. Whatever plastic is left here in this nozzle, or there might be a 1/2 inch or so of plastic right there, that can all be remelted. So there's really no waste. If you want to be lazy, of course, you can be like us. You can fill up like 100 pounds worth of Plastisol.
Now, have you ever melted that whole thing just to see what it comes out as?
We typically donate this to organizations that do remelted baits for veterans. So
oh, okay. Awesome.
Actually, if you know anybody that does that, put your name in the comments or something. We'll fire this off to them.
That's sweet. Yeah, that's awesome. So if you know anybody that's doing the remelts, I like that idea. Put your name down below. We'll try to get this out to someone.
That's right. 2 clamps coming off. This takes, I don't know, if you shoot this mold a bunch, I mean, if you've shot this 20 times in a row, of course you need to let it cool a little bit, but really, you're good to open this up probably 30 seconds, 40 seconds later. So you can see we got 4 beautiful green pumpkin Senkos.
Nice.
Ready to rip. Maybe some scent to these. Just a little bit, goes a long ways in the bag. But we need some lead to pair it with.
Some lead.
We'll pour up some lead real quick, and then we're gonna hit the lake.
All right, what are we gonna put on? What are we making over here? What are we cooking up? Some jigs?
So I think to go with those Senkos, we want a weighted wacky head. Whenever I'm fishing a Senko, just to fish it faster so it's not quite as painful. I like to pair it with these guys. So
big fan of that too. I think that gets overlooked. The flick shake rig, that used to be a big thing a while back. Anything like a little bit weird and different, I feel like gets bites. Especially if you're throwing right next to someone who's throwing the same green pumpkin stick bait or whatever. Putting them on just even a little light weighted wacky rig is going to accentuate that motion on the way down. Having a little bit of weight to help pull it down. like Brennan was saying, you can fish it faster too. So it's almost like a power finesse instead of just throwing it out and waiting forever for that, you know, weightless stick bait to fall. Because like these are going to be pretty buoyant, right? There's no sort of salt or anything in these. So.
That's right. We did not add salt to these. You can add salt, of course, to get a different effect, but we're putting a weighted head on it. So it's kind of countering for the no salt there.
Yep.
So what we're doing now is just inserting our wire form. This is going to allow the bait to stay weedless when we're fishing around grass, and we will be.
So this is similar to that Ned rig that y'all saw me do a while back, that Midwest finesse jig head. You know, that little soft plastic keeper, that other little tiny wire that I was showing you having to put in here. Same thought process with this. You know, you've got to put that little tiny wire weed guard in there. And I suppose if you didn't like that, I know some guys clip those off. You could just leave it out and not even put that in here, I suppose. But here we're going to have them. I think it does help a little bit. So here's the process.
Shut it slowly. That's what you want to hear, and it's ready to go. Flip it open. There we go. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. We didn't pour that last one. All perfect. All you're going to do now is take this, clip off the sprue where the lead flows in, paint it, and it's ready to go. So we'll get to that next. So this is the powder paint technique we were talking about. This is going to leave the paint finish that whatever color you want. As you can see, we got quite the assortment.
Got a couple there.
But we're going to go with Magic Corral Blue because it's a springtime big fish color and I love it. Hit that for a couple seconds on each side. All you're trying to do is heat that lead up a little bit. Go straight in.
Boom, look at that.
There's your finished product.
I like it.
That's like in that inlet. Sometimes they will get like up.
Yeah. Little guy. There we go. Little Debo dinky to start the day for me. Even in a place with good sized fish, I managed to catch the dink. All right, there we go. One for me. Throwing around the old T-rig. There's one. No, he's a little guy. Thumped it though. All right, there we go. It's been a grinder. Number 2 of the day. Finally one on the spinnerbait. Off he goes.
Everybody wants to know a guy.
Got him.
Ooh, got it?
Nope. He thumped slack into. Oh, it's a pike. Hey, Mr. Pike. Look at him. I wondered. He smacked it like he was mean. Oh, probably best case scenario. All right, fishing friends, it's been a couple days since I did the tour, but huge thanks to the folks over at Do It. I appreciate you all so much letting me come in, film, show the process. For a tackle nerd like me, that was so flippin' cool to see how, you know, the molds are made to where it's shipped and packaged, the warehouse with all those goodies. Like, I literally wanted to do a supermarket sweep thing there with a, you know, a shopping cart and just run through and be like, I'm taking all this. But I didn't. I stayed composed. Brennan, thank you so much for being a humble, nice guy, showing me around, even taking me out on his boat going fishing. The fishing was a grind that night. I think he ended up catching 6 or 8. He was flipped like a Do It, one of those black and blue beavers that we had on the table. He caught some. I caught one on a Texas rig, and then everything for me was on the spinnerbait. I think I caught like 4, missed a couple bites, but it was a grinder. So again, thanks to the folks that Do It. You can check out their link. I will leave that link below. You can check out a free catalog. I've got one of these. I've actually been thumbing through looking at a few molds I want to get. I've got some stuff coming up, some new stuff, and I'm going to be working with them on a couple projects coming up soon that I am super duper pumped about. I think a lot of you will enjoy it. There'll be some giveaways and stuff coming soon, so it'll benefit you all. But enough out of me today. Tonight's subscribe fishing friend is Stillwater Bait Co. We're actually in like a little bait making group together, and he just said he's been following me for a long time, way back before all my bait making stuff. But it's cool that, you know, I've been able to connect through bait making with other people. Making your own home tackle it's a fun thing. You know, you can use your own creativity to make whatever lures, plastics, colors, you know, whatever you're into, whatever you want, and that's the fun process of it. So anytime I've got somebody reaching out to me saying, hey, you got me into painting or making jigs or whatever, it's awesome, blows my mind. So thank you all again so much for continuing to watch and support Debos Fishing. It means the world to me. I never thought I would be here with the number of subscribers I have, and that's for all of you. That's all of you to thank because of it. Without you, I'd just be a guy in his basement holding a camera, talking about fishing stuff. So enough out of me, I gotta edit. Thank you all for watching, and until next time.